Deep in the winding canals of Xochimilco, just south of Mexico City, there's an island that seems to breathe with a life of its own, a life born from tragedy. From a distance, it looks like any other overgrown patch of land. But as your boat cuts through the dark, quiet water and draws you closer, a chilling sight comes into view. You start to see them. First one, then 10, then hundreds, dolls. They are hanging from every tree branch, nailed to decaying wooden shacks, their plastic limbs tangled in vines. Some are missing eyes, their empty sockets staring into nothing. Others have cracked faces, covered in cobwebs and grime, their painted smiles twisted into permanent silent screams. A few float half submerged in the murky canal, their glassy eyes just breaking the surface, watching you pass. And if you listen closely, you might swear you can hear whispers carried on the wind, a chorus of faint, childish voices. This is La Isla de las Muñecas, the island of the dolls. And the story behind it is even more haunting than the site itself. The local legends say it all started decades ago with a man named Don Julian Santana. Seeking solitude, he left his life behind and became the island's sole caretaker, a recluse living off the land. But his peace was shattered shortly after he arrived. One day, while tending to his floating garden, he made a horrifying discovery in the dark water of the canal: the body of a young girl who had tragically drowned. Don Julian was haunted by the image, consumed by a crushing guilt that he couldn't save her. Soon after, he began to hear things at night. Soft sobs echoing across the water, a child's phantom cries piercing the silence. He was convinced it was the spirit of the drowned girl, restless and lost. Desperate to appease her tormented soul, he found a doll floating in the same canal, perhaps her own. As an offering, a gesture of peace, he hung it from a tree, but the crying didn't stop. In fact, it seemed to grow louder, more insistent. Don Julian believed the spirit wanted more. He began a new, obsessive mission. He scavenged for dolls wherever he could find them, pulling them from the canals, trading his produce for them in the local town. He hung every single one he found. Year after year, the collection grew, transforming the tranquil island into a grotesque gallery. The dolls multiplied until they covered nearly every surface, their hollow eyes watching from every branch, their cracked mouths seemingly whispering secrets in the breeze. Don Julian's isolation deepened. He started telling visitors that the dolls were more than just plastic and cloth. He claimed they were possessed by the spirits of the dead. He swore they moved on their own, that their heads would turn, their eyes would follow him, and that they would whisper to him in the dead of night. He was no longer the island's caretaker. He was its prisoner, surrounded by an army of silent, watchful effigies. For 50 years, Don Julian lived among the dolls, his sanity slowly unraveling in the face of his own creation. Then, in 2001, a strange and final twist was added to the story. Don Julian's nephew was visiting the island. After spending the day fishing, Don Julian reportedly told him that a spirit in the water had been calling to him, luring him to join her. A few hours later, his nephew found him. Don Julian was dead, floating face down in the exact same spot in the canal where he had found the little girl all those years ago. Was it a tragic accident, a heart attack that sent him tumbling into the water? Or did the spirit he spent his life trying to appease finally claim him? No one knows for sure. Today, the island remains a strange and unsettling memorial. Tourists now visit, bringing more dolls to add to the ever-growing collection as a sign of respect. And many who walk among the hanging figures report the same unnerving phenomena. They say the dolls' eyes seem to follow them as they move. They hear faint whispers when there's no wind. Some have even captured photos and videos where the dolls appear to have blinked or moved their heads. And if you dare to stay until dusk, locals warn that you can still hear the ghostly cries of a little girl echoing across the water, and sometimes, just sometimes, you might catch the reflection of an old man watching you from the canal's edge. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to one of the world's most haunted places. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the strange and unexplained. Let me know in the comments if you would ever dare to visit the island of the dolls. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.